Hi. Welcome to Waking Up in the Dream, where we dive deeply into conscious conversations that allow us to expand our conscious awareness into deeper levels of understanding so that we can manifest our ideal realities. It's Saturday evening in the US, and I usually don't do lives on my Sunday morning, which it is here in Thailand. However, I've been inspired. There's lots of downloads coming in, and I want to share some things that those that are interested or even curious about expanding their conscious awareness, inner healing, how we create our reality, how we move beyond what appears in the external to be a lot of chaotic 3D matrix. These are the tools. And to me, conscious awareness, raising our conscious awareness, is really the only game in town. So this is a Q&A. So if anybody has any questions at any time around doing any inner healing, clearing, dismantling your belief system, dismantling limiting programs, fears, doubts, shame, guilt, all the stuff that most of us have come in with once we came into a human body and were brought up in this system to forget everything we knew. Hey, Don, great to see you. And we forgot that we were God, that we were the creator. And hey, Sandra, great to see you. And so we chose to go through this process and pre-planned most of it on our soul contract. But in order to make it the most incredible roller coaster ride everywhere with thrills and spills and highs and lows, we had to forget that we are the creator and that we are all of it. And so whether you believe that or not, if you find any of this stuff curious, I invite you to just tune in and just keep the perspective of what anybody else says as, isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting is completely 100% neutral. It's judgment-free, and it allows one to not be in an automatic reaction to something that challenges their current belief system. Because I can tell you, guaranteed 1,000,000% that most people's belief system is a tiny, tiny, tiny little prison. It wouldn't even fit on the head of a pin. And every single belief that one has, unless there's some, download master or whatever, which I'm not, or none of your beliefs are your own. They all came from outside of you, all of them. So what happens is you see people take on a belief system and then combine that with childhood wounds of trauma, abuse, fear, needing to protect themselves. And then anything that happens in the external reality, whether it's in conversations or actions or something they see, if it challenges their belief system or touches on that emotional childhood wound, they automatically go into a trigger. And when you learn to use these tools of conscious observation, you can begin to feel and track the frequency of every thought, every word, every emotion. And when a trigger happens, instead of reacting on automatic reaction like so many people are doing, and the 3D matrix is set up perfectly to manipulate people into doing this. You can see it right now. It's one drama after another. It's one pox after another, one fake virus after another, whatever it is. And you can say, well, I know people that have been affected by it. I understand. Me too. However, we're talking about using tools to move beyond and out of this. And for the first time in thousands, if not millions of years, it's happening right now. In fact, it's already happened. The New Earth timelines are already here and beyond because there is no such thing as time. So when you can tune into this, or at least be open to it, that's the key. Just be open and curious and be playful. And then use some of these tools if they resonate with you to consciously and intentionally create your reality first thing every morning and then track your frequency throughout the day. And you will begin to see that when you consciously and intentionally create your reality, instead of just waking up every morning and having the same 50 to 80,000 thoughts just run one after another, you're going to see that you are consciously creating the timelines and the events and the synchronicities and the abundance and all of the amazing people and things that show up in your reality, because you are the creator. It's just that when we get into a 3D school system, we're taught for 12 to 16 years what to think. They don't teach us how to think, because they didn't want us to expand out of 3D. They wanted us to give up 65 years, the best years of our life, and work a job, paying to live on a planet where you shouldn't have to pay. It was never meant to be that way, and we're moving back towards that. So if that upsets you, I understand, because that's slavery, and nobody has the right to enslave anybody. The great news is, though, which is what we're going to focus on, because that raises our frequency, and the exciting news, which is my favorite word, excitement, because as a walking, talking, vibrating magnet, when we are excited and we are in gratitude, we are attracting more like frequency, timelines, people, abundance, health, and everything into our realities. So these are the tools. So if anybody has any questions around this, feel free to pop them in. I'm going to refresh my Facebook page really quickly, and I'm going to get into some of the notes that I downloaded this morning between 5 and 6 a.m. I'm just refreshing my page here. Anybody have any questions around what I've shared so far? Hey, Lisa, great to see you. Yay, Lisa's in the house. Okay, what a great bunch of people already. So if anybody would like to share this, you don't have to do it now. You can wait to see if I deliver anything good and inspiring. But there's a lot of people that would benefit from these tools. There's a lot of people out there that don't know where to turn. They're consumed by just basically trying to survive every day and get by with all the pressures and the fears and all the stuff that's happening. Give everybody a hand up, because really in reality, everybody is you. That's a big one. When my teacher, Don Miguel Ruiz, told me that in 2001, my mind was like, what? Everybody's me? I don't think so. I'm not a pedophile. I'm not a murderer. I'm not a thief. But these are all mirrors that are out there. We're all one. That's it. And so when you see somebody that's wounded or hurting, send them love. And yet, it's tricky when to go, well, what if somebody's a reptilian and they're harvesting children or murdering people or whatever? I understand. However, if you're holding any low frequency anger, resentment, remorse, or anger towards anybody, who's holding it? You are. And those frequencies don't exist in 5D and beyond. So if you're holding that frequency of lack of forgiveness or anger or judgment, you're going to stay stuck in 3D. It's really simple once you figure it out. However, the egoic mind may still have a story, because I had this for many years, about how wrong everything was out there and how I needed to judge it and point it out. Otherwise, it wasn't going to get fixed. And this is something I'm going to dive into deeply here very shortly, because a lot of people are still like, we need to go out and vote. And the 3D system is broken. Voting makes you think you have a choice. You don't. It's rigged. And this may trigger some people if you're out there working to attempt to make changes. I applaud that. I'm not saying don't do it. I'm just saying the way that we move beyond 3D and the old paradigm is we begin to consciously create our reality. We unplug from the television, from all low vibrational news. And this is the trick right here. This is the trick, because the mind goes, if we don't create change and fight this or something, the dark winds are going to win. That's a logical assumption, but it's only an assumption, and it's not true. Because when one really dives into how this whole reality is created, it's created all within our minds, with our thoughts, and our beliefs and our imagination and the frequency that we put behind that. So you could say, well, Jeff, I've been imagining a new world for 40 years and nothing's really changed. Well, I would question that, because I used to be the guy that would say the same thing. But look at what's changed. Look at where we are right now. Everybody's waking up. Every single inversion, dark inversion, is being exposed, from the fake medical system to the fake money system to the fake history to the fake. It's all being exposed. And yeah, there's going to be a little bit of turmoil and change, because people need to wake up. So the key is to hold your frequency in an observation state. That means not reacting, not becoming triggered, observing and going, hey, Mary Beth, great to see you. Hey, Adam. So this is really the key. And you don't have to believe me. Like my teacher, Miguel, said, don't believe me. Don't believe yourself, for sure. Question everything. But until, hey, Denise, great to see you. Big, big love. Until one can understand what the belief system is and how it controls one's reality, you won't get out of the 3D matrix, because you will keep defending your beliefs, and you won't allow any of this new age, whatever, infinite possibilities and higher frequencies to come in, because they threaten the ego's safety of this little tiny prison of a belief system. So that's why it's so key to go through this process. I don't care if you go through it with the book or whatever, but the bottom line is you must do the inner healing, which in most cases, 99% comes down to forgiveness. Forgiveness of yourself and anyone else that did anything to you, and understand, super key, that you chose this as part of your soul contract. Now that may trigger some people. It surely triggered me the first time I heard it. I'm like, there's no way I would have ever chosen to go through all this pain and suffering and hell. I'm a very sweet guy. I love people. I love animals. I love nature. I'm kind. I had my own wounds. I had my own traumatic stuff that happened when I was a child. But, I had to figure it out. And after becoming suicidal a few times in my late 20s and 30s, I was like, fuck, there's got to be more to life than pain and suffering. There's something wrong here. There's something wrong here. That was my higher self beginning to remember and question what was out there. So in the beginning, I started to fight it. I started to judge everything. I was a judgeaholic. I wrote a whole chapter on judgment in the book, because it's the biggest addiction on the planet. Far bigger than drugs and alcohol. Judgment is the biggest addiction on the planet. And it comes from separation and making judgments about other people that you think are wrong, or the way they look or whatever, not understanding that they're you. And when you finally wake up to it, it's the biggest cosmic joke ever. And you start to go, oh, shit. Oh, wow. So everybody that I have a judgment or a reaction that's not from love is my teacher. They're mirroring me. It's a hologram. The hologram is reversed 180 degrees. It's flipped. But most people think that it's the opposite. So the things out there that trigger them, they automatically react to. And that's the way that the 3D matrix is set up. We're going to keep everybody in automatic reaction mode so they won't get out. Because you can't raise your vibration when you're in automatic reaction mode unless you've trained yourself for your automatic reaction to be gratitude, excitement, love. And always going, oh, I just got triggered and had a judgment. What is this trying to teach me about me? That's the multi-million-dollar question into your freedom. What is this trying to show me or teach me about me? Because if you don't get that and you just judge, it's going to come back again. Because the soul it's eternally patient. There's no such thing as time. It'll just keep giving you the same lesson over and over and over. Keep attracting the same wrong man or woman in relationships. Keep not having abundance or money in your life. Why? I used to think it was because some people were lucky and some people weren't. Yeah, I was, just above broke my whole life until I figured it out. And so I share these tools because I was grateful enough to meet somebody that showed me that my belief system wasn't even mine. And you must see this, or you won't get out. It doesn't mean that every one of your beliefs is false. I kept two. I am a sovereign, divine, unlimited being, which means I'm unlimited. Now, very few people that I know of are actually really scratching the surface of the word unlimited, including myself. It's a big space, unlimited. But to at least be open to that, I'm unlimited. I'm way beyond, money and owning a house. And I mean, those are great things to have. It's just that if you ask people what they desire to make them happy, they'll tell you the same four things: my health, my favorite car paid off, my home paid off, and then enough money in the bank so that I can do whatever I want. And then I ask them, well, what's enough money in the bank? And you watch their mind go, they don't know. Because, hey, Jelf, great to see you, brother. Hey, Adam, I'll get to your question in just a second. And so I ask people, what's enough money for you to be happy and to feel secure? And they can't come up with a number, because $1 million used to be a lot of money, but now $1 million won't even buy a house in California. If you have $100 million, then you have to worry about holding on to it. You have to figure out where to put it, where they're not going to rip you off, or it's a trap. And if you look at what is the belief, what is the underlying subconscious belief? It's fear of not being safe, being taken care of, and having security. So that's the place to go to remove that. Then money and abundance just flows in your life because you see how it operates. Yeah. I used to hold on to money because I was like, okay, well, I got a little bit of savings now, but, I better save it for a rainy day in case something bad happens. You don't go, well, I got money, I'm going to spend it on something great. Well, sometimes you do, but I'm talking about these programs that have been ingrained into our system by the 3D matrix of lack, and fear around money for thousands of years. Now we get to go in and break these. And one of the mantras which changed a lot for me, if not everything around money, is one of the mantras I share with my clients. And it's, anything I give or spend has already been returned to me. Because in reality, I'm the only one in this dream. And so if I'm giving, that means that I trust and I'm really giving to myself. This is a big key, and I invite you to write it down and play with it if you're having any issues with money. Because anytime you're holding and you go, I don't have enough to do that course, I don't have enough to go on that trip. I mean, that may be true in this moment. If I said, hey, we're all going to meet in Costa Rica next month, but you can come for free and hang out with me, but it's probably going to cost you a couple grand to get there and back. And you go, well, I don't have it. Okay, so what's the solution? You get into the feeling state in the morning. First thing when you wake up, you love on every one of your trillions of cells. You smile, which raises your vibration. You breathe until your mind's really clear. And then you imagine, oh man, I can imagine we're all sitting around the beach. There's a fire burning. There's all these stars out. It's a full moon. We're swimming in the water. The temperature is perfect. You can hear all these incredible birds and animals moving around. And we've got the best food and drink. And everybody's just in their hearts and in these incredible conversations. I'm so glad that I showed up here. And then you allow that frequency to create that timeline. And if you're supposed to be there, then it'll show up. And if not, then maybe the timing's wrong. You don't go, well, shit doesn't work. No, you just understand that you're perfectly where you're at, and maybe that or something better will come along. And not maybe, it will, if you continue to wake up every day and use the tools which are taught in the process and raise your vibration See, anything that you desire is already here now. It's never, ever in the future. You never use words like, I hope, I wish, I want, I'm trying. It's difficult, it's hard. Because every single one of those words is telling your subconscious the same thing. It's not here yet. It's not here yet. It's not here yet. And it's difficult. It's difficult. It's difficult. So what does the subconscious do? The subconscious can only take a direct order. And when you figure this out about the subconscious, you're going to go, whoa, and you're going to get really clear as to what you feed your subconscious every day. Nobody taught me this. I bought the books, The Secret, Think and Grow Rich, all this. And there's some great stuff in there. Bruce Lipton, Joe Vitale. Well, I'm not a big fan of Joe Vitale. But if you are, great. But the bottom line is, your beliefs are creating your reality. And if you do not look at your beliefs and dismantle every single limiting one, and then be able to track what you are thinking and speaking to yourself all day long, you're probably not, I'm not saying you're not going to, I don't know anything. And I don't wish that on anybody. I'm here to inspire you to dive a little bit deeper with curiosity into these tools, which for every single person that uses them, they go, this changed my life more than anything else I've ever done. Because it's what's creating your reality. And you must get away from the automatic subconscious beliefs and reactions. And the only way to do that is to go through the process of writing them down. It's not that big a deal, you know? Well, I did Course in Miracles, and it didn't teach me what waking up in the dream taught me. There's some good stuff in it, though. And I wouldn't necessarily call it mysticism. I'm not sure what your definition of that word is. This is how our reality is created. And you can test it out. And if it works for you, great. If it doesn't, perfect. I'm not here to tell anybody what to do. I'm sharing tools that work when you use them. And they work for every single person that's gone through this process. So I just invite everybody to keep an open mind, because a closed mind and a reactive mind blocks everything that's waiting for you outside of that tiny little belief system, which is actually a prison. And if that triggers you, look at that, because every one of your triggers is knocking on the door going, oh, here's an opportunity to learn something. So you're either going to react or you're going to learn. Your choice. Great stuff. All right. Okay, Adam's question. Thank you for asking the first question. Adam, how did you heal? What kind of practice and teachers have you worked with? The way to heal is to forgive and to understand that every single thing that one has experienced was chosen as part of your soul contract. Now, when I tell somebody that the first time, the initial reaction in 3D is like, no, I would have never chosen that. I would have never chosen to go through that hell or that pain or getting murdered or raped or, you know, somebody in my family getting murdered or being MK Ultra'd or, you know, having my family killed or my mom's abusive. I understand. That's the 3D mind thinking. That's very limited. If you want to get out, here's the way to get out. Forgive everyone involved. It doesn't take years. It doesn't take months. I walk people through it in 1 or 2 sessions every single week. Self-forgiveness and understanding I created this as part of my soul's journey for a reason. So the people that come and do the Waking Up 30-day mentorship with me are usually the people that have had the most traumatic experiences. And my hat's off to them, because I understand, I get it. Now, why would somebody choose to come down here to have the most traumatic experience? Because before they came down here, they're an infinite, unlimited being. They are source. They're the creator of all of it. So if you've already experienced everything and you went to an amusement park, which ride would you want to go on? You'd want to go on the ride that has the most thrills and turns and twists and ups and downs. And For me, it's the roller coaster. It's always the greatest, highest roller coaster at any amusement park I can go to, because that's, to me, that's the ride. So the practice that I work with is forgiveness. And the question that opens up worlds to you beyond the trauma and the belief system is, what is this event or trauma trying to teach me or show me? And then once you clear it and heal it, you have the compassion, the wisdom, and the awareness to hold space for everybody else. So it's one of the highest, most noblest things you could ever do, which is why people choose this stuff. And also, we are clearing it for the collective after thousands, if not millions of years of pain and suffering and recycling events. So I intend that that answers your question. If you have any other question around that, please let me know. Yeah. So any other questions? Okay, Don has one. Okay, hey, Don. I'm so tired. Okay. So if you tell your subconscious you're so tired, then it's going to create more of that for you. And I understand, I can be tired. I fell down at the waterfalls yesterday, smashed the face of my phone into a million pieces, got it fixed with a brand new face 2 hours later, but it was a long day. And I was tired in that moment. But when I read and tune into your question, so many questions. I'm so tired. It's like being exhausted. Okay, so what I would invite you to do is to just really drop into your heart and smile and stop trying to figure everything out and just be. Just be. Give your body love. If it's tired, it's knocking on the door and it's trying to get your attention. That's a sign to stop. Stop. You're going to get it all done. It's okay. You don't have to figure it out, all of it today. Okay? Even when I think I know, I'm doubting everything my heart and soul already knows. Okay, great. Now, when I say great, how does your mind react to that? What? What do you mean great? This is my main issue. No, it's great that you're sharing this and that you can see and that you're honest that you're doubting everything your heart and soul knows. So you can see the program. So this is great. Okay? You know why? Because so many people are automatic reactors, and if they don't question or understand that they're running a program, they're not going to be able to dismantle it. Okay? So the fact that you can feel that, then just use the tools. Just go, what is this trying to show me or teach me? So if you're doubting everything, then why is that? There must be some type of, I don't want to project, but there's a block or something to clear. Why would you be doubting everything that your heart and soul already knows? So just sit with that and play with it. And when we get quiet, then that's when the answers come. And the way to do that is through our breath and meditate. And just clear the mind of all thoughts. Just clear it. Just love on yourself. And your higher self already knows. If you get quiet and ask, the answers will come. So I intend that assists you a little bit. Okay, thanks, Adam. Catch you on the next one. What I'm saying is classic spiritual bypass. All right, cool, brother. Well, I wish you a lot of luck on your journey. Thanks for stopping by. Okay. Hey, Tammy, great to see you. All right. For those that are interested in growth, yes, some of this stuff goes against people's belief system, and it triggers them. So there you go. You know? And when we automatically react and project our stuff onto others as being wrong, we have the invitation to feel that automatic reaction and turn it around and go, I'm triggered. What is this trying to teach me or show me? If it works for you, great. Yeah. Sometimes you can hear things within the chatter. For me, it's about getting quiet. For me, the noise is the indicator to stop and ask, what is this trying to show me or teach me? You know, I get my answers when I'm in peace and in nature. But you can do that too. Yeah. So I intend that helped you a little bit. If you have another question, feel free to ask it, or feel free to reach out. And thank you for asking the question, because when I do these lives each week, sometimes it takes a while for somebody to ask a question. But then as soon as it does, it lets everybody else feel like, oh, okay, it's safe to ask a question. There's no judgment in here. All we're doing is sharing and mirroring. And if it works for you, great. You know, the answers that work for me may not work for you, but in general, the tools that I'm sharing will get you to the root if you're willing to be honest with yourself. That's the key. If you get triggered and you automatically react, then you're not going to clear it and you're not going to learn. You don't learn when you're in automatic reaction mode. You learn when you're in, okay, what is this trying to show me? I just got triggered. I don't like it. I'm pissed off. I'm angry. I'm upset. You know, whatever it is, that's when you feel that frequency in your body and you stop and go, okay, there's something to learn here. The hologram or my higher self is tapping on my shoulder to get my attention. So there you go. Yeah, so let me grab my notes here. Okay, so let's talk about moving beyond 3D, because this is a big one right now. And I'm reading the comments as they come in, and I'm doing my best to keep my train of thought. So I'll get to that in a second. Okay, so how can we move beyond 3D when it appears that currently, if we don't do something drastically, we're going to be enslaved? All our money is going to be digital. They're going to turn it off whenever they want. They're going to force lockdowns. Their goal is to remove half the population. Okay, so yeah, that is their goal. And they are removing a lot of the population because a lot of the population, unfortunately, did not question or listen to their inner guidance, and they went along with it so they didn't get judged by others in public. Where I live in Thailand, almost every single Thai person is wearing a mask, even after they've got 3 or 4 jibs. And they're super, super loving people. It's Buddhism here. They're very trusting people. They don't think that anybody would ever lie to them because that's not how they operate. So you just bless them and you observe. But they don't get it. Okay? So I'm walking around here and I stick out like a sore thumb because I'm a white guy. And, you know, they look at me. But I'll tell you what, as soon as I see everybody, I smile at them. And within one split second, the transmission goes from my eye and my smile to them, and they go, oh, he's in his heart. And 99 out of 100 times, they drop into their heart and smile back like that. Not even a single word needs to be said. So it's about frequency, and that's proof of it. So if we feel like we need to fight the old, you know, we need to remove all these bad people from power, I can guarantee you that they're being removed right now. Can I prove it to you? Well, you can go deep down the rabbit hole onto some of the websites where there's been a lot of arrests and executions already. It can be very time consuming, or you can just trust and go, okay, I know I didn't come here this time to be murdered or enslaved. I know I came here to play a role into the awakening of humanity. I can see it. I've known it since I was a child, or even if you just woke up to this reality in the past year or two, you can feel it and you can see what's happening out there, and you can see the conversations that you attract into your reality of people that are on the same wavelength. And you can notice when you get around people that are talking about complaining and doom and gloom and fear-based, that it pulls your frequency down and it doesn't resonate with you anymore. When you tune into frequency, It will guide you into who to hang around, who to spend your time with. You will begin to attract like frequency vibration into your life in reality. It's the law of frequency and vibration. It's not the possibility of frequency and vibration. It's a law. And we are walking, talking, vibrating magnets. So you're going to attract whatever you are vibrating at and believing and holding within you. So if you're not attracting abundance or a great mate, I'm not going to use the term soulmate. Too many people are hooked on that. And I believe if you attract anybody into your life, it could be a soulmate, whether you're together for a month or forever. And what is forever? Everybody is our teacher. I see people get attached to this, oh, this is my soulmate. And then I see a lot of it, it doesn't work out. And so anytime you have an attachment, if you look underneath, there's a fear there. Because you don't need to attach to anything. Because in reality, you are everything. You are everything. Which brings me to my next 2 points. So we look out there, we go, oh my God, everything's going to hell. They're trying to enslave us. They're trying to create war. Everything's inverted. They're lying about everything. Yeah, it's their last ditch effort. So how do you move above that? Well, we weren't taught that if we shift our frequency, we will begin to see new timelines. Each one of these dots, you can just imagine, it's a different timeline. And they're not in the future. They're here now. But we weren't taught this, or most of us weren't taught. I certainly wasn't taught this. I grew up in Catholic school, private Catholic schools with angry, pissed off nuns. It was Judgment Day every single day for 12 years. And then it was an altar boy in church. Yeah. They talk about love while everybody's judging, and it was just classic. But here's the beauty of it. I saw it, and I knew that something was wrong even when I was in the second grade. I didn't know anything about conscious awareness. I didn't know anything about how we create our reality. I didn't know anything, period. But my inner innate intelligence, my intuition knew. And so I observed after I went through year after year after year in school and got straight A's and B's. But me and my best friend, we were always the ones in trouble in Catholic school. Why? Because we questioned everything. And the nuns didn't like that. Because it mirrored them, and it showed them that everything they had been taught and believed was a lie, or almost all of it. So yeah, they were freaking pissed off. I would be pissed off too. So how do you move beyond the 3D that seems to be closing in on us? And if we don't do something immediately, it's going to be game over, and we're all going to be enslaved. You raise the vibration. And this takes practice, because the 3D matrix, they're pumping it at you as hard as they can now. It's in advertisements. It's everywhere. So you must become the calm, conscious observer and go, oh, isn't that interesting? This feels pretty intense. Okay, yeah, I agree. It can be pretty intense. So that's when you reach out to somebody who can mirror you and hold that frequency, instead of people that go, yeah, we're fucked and all these people. And, the talk at the hair salon or at the bar where one person says something and then everybody else chimes in about how bad it is. And they, talk about all their wounds and subconscious stuff. Yeah, we've all done it. I've certainly done it. But when you begin to hang out with people that are holding a higher frequency, the conversations are on a different level. And you're not talking about that which you don't want to attract more of into your reality. And the only way you can stop that is to begin to observe the frequency of every thought, every judgment, every reaction, and track your thoughts and words and feelings. And when there's one that doesn't come from love, joy, excitement, gratitude, or kindness, you can feel it. And the only way to clear it is to stop and go, okay, there's another one. I just had a judgment about somebody out there. And then you say thank you to them. Thank you for being the mirror that showed me that I still have something to heal. A lot of people don't like to hear this. They don't like to admit that there's anything to heal, because then that tells them that there's something wrong with me. And nobody likes to feel like there's something wrong with me. So it takes a little bit of balls and courage to go, okay, I had to forget everything I knew when I came in here. It was traumatic, and now I'm in the process of undoing all of this stuff. And that process is called remembering and healing and moving into self-empowerment. It's really pretty simple once you figure it out, but you've got to become 100% accountable for that which is showing up in your reality. And you've got to become 100% accountable for everything that triggers you. And again, you don't have to believe anything anybody tells you. In fact, don't believe it. But check into the frequency of it and then see how you're resonating with that. And you're going to find out that people that are wounded and still have healing to do, they're triggered by things that mirror their wound. And so if they're not willing to really look at their stuff, they will post comments that say, you're wrong and this and that. And it's okay. I don't take it personally at all, because I know this stuff works. And I know that there's a lot of, everybody's your mirror. So if a comment comes in and says, yeah, dude, you're new age or whatever, you know, this is spiritual bullshit or whatever, I read it and I go, okay, isn't that interesting? And of course, if somebody's calling you out, especially in public, then yeah, I felt the little twinge of that. And I'm like, especially I'm here on a flow, I'm in my heart, I'm delivering tools that have changed my life and the lives of thousands of people. I'm giving this away, and because it's my passion. And when you figure out what your passion is, you will give it away. Yeah, it's okay to charge. It's okay to become wealthy. You're not going to become wealthy because you have a fear that you need more money. You use it to do more good. And you realize that you'll always be taken care of when you step into your passion. So that's what I love assisting people in doing. And it always works for those that are ready. So, yeah. Hey, Julie, great to see you. Everybody is your mirror. I'll tell you what, when you figure that out, and you become 100% accountable for your triggers, that's when things start really starting to click. And then more of what you desire just starts to automatically magnetize towards you. There's no trying, there's no hard work, there's no struggle. Those are all 3D beliefs and programs that we were all taught. Yeah. And so catch those words, catch those spell words. I talk about them on almost every live. Try, wish, hope, hard, difficult, going to. All those words tell your subconscious two things. It's not here yet, and it's hard. So the subconscious goes, okay, it's not here yet. Check, make that timeline their reality, and make it difficult and hard too. Got to figure out how the subconscious works. It's real simple. So play with that. If anybody has any questions around that, great. So back to my notes here. So how do we trust, keyword, that if we simply unplug from the 3D matrix, that everything's going to be okay? It's a trust thing. And deep inside, you know that's true. You can't change the 3D by fighting it. No, it's all frequency and vibration. So number one, observe, don't react. Use this life-changing mantra. It's 3 words. Write it down or get it tattooed on your forehead in reverse so you can see it when you're in the mirror. Isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting is neutral. It allows you to observe something that may be shocking. It may be horrible. It may be triggering. It may be touching on your deepest wound. But when you can stop and go, isn't that interesting? That stops the automatic reactor from running. You take a breath. This is one of the waking up in the dream processes. whenever you get triggered to go into judgment, you stop. If you can. I've pulled over on the freeway on the side of the road. And I've gone up because I'm committed to the process because it works more than anything else I've ever done, ever paid for, or ever been taught. It works. So the process is you stop. I put my hand on my heart to calm my body. I smile to calm my body to let myself know that I'm safe. That shifts my whole frequency right there already. And then I use my breath to stop any of this automatic reaction story that's running, the judgment, the trigger, the fear, the doubt, the shame, the indignation, the automatics. The only way to stop an automatic is with your breath. You stop it with your breath, and then you ask the priceless question, what is this trying to show me or teach me about me? It's not about the other thing out there in the hologram or the other person or the thing on the news or the billboard or whatever. That's the teaching. That's the mirror. Yeah, 100%. Neutrality is your golden frequency. Well, it's your golden observation frequency. Excitement and gratitude is your magnetic frequency to pull more in. But yeah, neutrality isn't that interesting. And from there, you're already dismantling the old automatic. Because if you're not able to see the program, you won't dismantle it. You can't. Because the ego will just continue to run it over and over and over. Isn't that interesting, the way that works? Yeah. Great stuff when you finally figure it out. You're like, oh my God, everybody needs to know this. Because they've got the majority of people or a lot of people. I don't like to, see, I'm very careful also. You'll become very careful of the words that you're using. Because I used to go, most people are stuck in 3D. Now, why would I want to tell my subconscious that most of the people are stuck in 3D so that my reality would show me that most of the people are enslaved? So then I changed it to, for some of the people that are still stuck. See, that just those words change the reality. Very key to become very aware of your words. That's why it's called spelling, because they cast spells. And, the 3D creators, the diabolical dark ones, were very, very intelligent. They have all their DNA. They knew how to hijack our DNA, and they knew how to create these school systems of programming where they would teach us what to think instead of how to think. Because they don't want thinkers. They want people that give up 16 to 20 years to go through the school system and get programmed with all lies and nonsense, and then give up 65 years of the best years of your life. So then you can finally become what? Another spell word, retired. It's not a mistake they made that word. Re, meaning to recycle, tired, you know what that means, okay? So once you see this and you get pissed off and you figure it out, and then you go, okay, so what are the tools to move beyond this? So getting back to the question from 5 minutes ago, do you believe that you can move beyond 3D and all of the dreadful, diabolical things that are being pushed out rapidly, 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 without taking action and fighting the 3D? Do you believe that you can move beyond it simply by raising your frequency and unplugging all thoughts and all attention from any of that? Do you believe that? And in part 2, are you practicing it? Just like me. Just like me. I'm working with clients and they come to me and they're like, my friend just died from the jab. He was in perfect health. He was a vegetarian, one of the smartest guys I know, but he had to leave the country to go see his family. So he got the jib. And, 3 weeks later, he dies from a brain tumor. I mean, I have people coming to me with all kinds of wounds and things. And they're brave. They're the bravest people I've ever met. So I have to be very gentle and holding very safe space for them in a way that they know that they're being loved and held in a sacred, safe space, and yet we still have to go in and point out the wound in the program. And unless you're ready, you're going to get triggered. So this process is for, you got to be ready. And if you're ready and you want to do it, come and feel free to, go through this 30-day journey. It'll frickin' blow your mind in the best way. But let's get back to the question. Do you believe that you can shift out of 3D just by using your thoughts, your imagination? See, the smile always raises your frequency. You can feel it. Even if you're pissed off, if you learn to smile, I'm fucking pissed, and then smile, you can shift from super pissed into, oh, okay, there it is again. I'm back in my heart. That freaking quick. But you can run into people in 3D that still have the wound in the programming and they'll go, I'm having a really bad day. Usually if I mirror anybody that says they're having a bad day, they're not having a bad day. They had one triggered moment, but then they didn't have the tools to clear it. So the ego just kept going, yeah, they're and these people, yeah, and everybody else. And it's just like that stuff at the hair salon or in the bar where, yeah, me too, my husband's such a great, and everybody piles on and everybody's wounds come up together because they just met somebody who's got the same frequency wound, so they feel at home. So who are you choosing to hang out with? Which frequencies are you allowing into your reality? That's the only game in town. And it doesn't mean that you have to dump everyone in your life or in your family that's not operating on the same frequency. However, you will begin to limit and choose who is allowed to come into your frequency, because if they're lowering it, you're not going to hang around that long. You don't need to be mean to them, but you'll just be like, okay, here's what I do. When you begin to raise your frequency and you're walking around with a smile and you're happy, you can trigger people that aren't happy. Why? Because their built-in innate system goes, why is he happy? That makes me pissed off. Well, if they don't have the tools to go, oh, I'm pissed off, I'm triggered, I just realized it. What is that trying to show me or teach me? Which a lot of people don't have those tools yet. They're still running on automatic reactor mode, because that's how 3D works and keeps people stuck. They don't teach you how to heal the wound, which is the first thing that you should be taught in the first grade, which is the only grade kids need. And that's what we're going to do in the new school systems. Teach a child what an emotional reaction is, what a trigger is, how to catch it, and then how to consciously create the reality with their thoughts and their words and their excitement. You don't need to go to school for 12 or 16 years to sign away your life to get into the club. This is all dissolving very quickly. It's very exciting. Okay? So, if you're walking around and you trigger somebody because of your vibration, and they say something or they react or they do a comment on Facebook or whatever, first thing I'll do is go, oh, isn't that interesting? So now I'm in a neutral spot. I'm not judgmental about what they just judged about me or what they got triggered about. I caught it. Sometimes it takes me a couple seconds if somebody leaves a really triggered comment or something, but I catch it. I've trained myself to do it, and you can too. In 30 days or less, you can do it. And I'm sure most of you, that's my intention. You're already doing it, or you wouldn't be paying attention to what I'm saying here. So great work. So, however though, if we do trigger somebody and we're talking about hanging around family or old friends that are maybe bringing you down, this is one of the good ways to handle it. If somebody gets triggered around me and says something that's reactive, I take a breath and then I respond very calmly and very lovingly, but I mirror them. Now, if they're willing to accept that they just got triggered and go, oh, there's a better way, then we can continue the conversation, because that shows that they're willing to take ownership for their reactions. If you mirror them gently and lovingly, never raise your voice, because that shows that you're triggered. You can always tell when somebody's triggered because they raise their voice and it gets louder and louder. And that's when you can see two people in an unconscious relationship. They don't have the tools. So they get emotionally triggered, and that emotional trigger of energy amplifies, and so they get angry and they raise their voice. That's 3D, okay? So what I do is I mirror somebody, and if they go, oh, I didn't realize I was doing that, then you know you're dealing with somebody that is ready to grow. But if they come back with, oh, then I'm like, out. I'm out. I remove myself from the situation. I don't need to get angry or anything. I'm just like, I change the subject. You know what? I gotta be somewhere in 15 minutes. It's been great hanging out with you. I don't need to shame them or whatever, because they wouldn't get it. I already gave them the opportunity, and I gently, lovingly, softly mirrored them, and they weren't open to it. So they're not ready. It's not their time. So I'm like, well, then I know I'm out. I don't spend any more of my time being in situations with people that are going to create negativity or try and bring me down and get me into their level. No. So what happens is all the people in your life start to shift really quickly, and you'll begin to attract people from all over the world, Facebook and social media. The majority of my deep connections are with people I've never met in person yet. All my clients and all my friends I met on Facebook. I love Facebook. Thank you, Mark Zuckerberg and George Soros and whoever else created to track us and do all this diabolical shit. It's all backfiring. All the dark inversions, they can't survive in the new energies. So this is another thing to get excited about. So again, do you believe that you can move beyond all of the fear-based stuff that's, great job, Amanda. All of the fear-based stuff that's happening right now by simply shifting your frequency, or do you believe that you need to go out and fight it? It's a very good question to ask, because it wasn't that long ago that, I was still posting everything. I was posting all the stuff nobody else would post, that everybody was afraid to post. Nobody was afraid to admit that the government was run by pedophiles. Nobody was willing to admit that the queen was harvesting children and that she was a reptilian and drinking blood, and that the people in the highest levels of Hollywood and government were doing the same thing, involved in these devious, diabolical, horrible acts against children and people. Nobody was willing to admit it. So I was like, well, I got to post this stuff. And then I'm in Facebook jail, and I'm like, I don't think it's worth me losing my connection to the entire world. So I did an assessment, and I'm like, okay, a little deeper. And that's when I started to realize that if I focus on that, I'm actually giving it energy in a way. I'm not saying there aren't great people out there like Operation Underground Railroad that are going out there and they're, arresting the pedophiles, and they're taking out the underground bases and all this stuff. Some people are cut out for that. For me, my path is sharing conscious awareness, tools for shifting the way we create our reality in music and art, in nature. That's my zone in this lifetime currently. There may be other things. But so again, do you believe and trust and know with a smile that everything is perfectly shifting, and you do not have to worry about the fear-based timelines that so many other people are sucked into? Just putting that out there as an opening, it's really super key. And the first time I thought about it, or the first 100 times I thought about it, I was like, I don't think that's enough. They're really coming at us hard. I don't think I can just, check out and just go, oh, I'm creating a reality beyond that. I had no experience of that working. So since I had no experience of it, it was difficult for me to trust in it. Because I'm like, I'm the guy, I need to see proof. I don't care about what was written 1,000 years ago. I don't read hardly anything anymore about, all this new stuff was uncovered. It doesn't matter to me because I can't prove it. And if I can't prove it, I don't need to go down that rabbit hole anymore. So that's freed up a lot of my time from all the reading and rabbit holes I used to go down. Now I'm like, where's my frequency right now? If I do decide to go down a rabbit hole for a little bit, just to see if, I knew that like 20 years ago. Now it's finally being revealed. I might dive down a step or two. But now I'm like, What's the frequency of it? And does it resonate as truth? And if it triggers me or it puts me in fear or doubt, then I know there's something to look at a little bit deeper within me. I don't need to go farther down the rabbit hole. So it all comes down to simplicity. Where's my frequency right now? What thoughts and words and imagination and the vibration of excitement, gratitude, joy? I ride around every day on my scooter and I say, I love you to every bird, every water buffalo, every dog. There's wild dogs here everywhere, every tree, every stream. And it's not because I'm so great and so advanced. It's because I figured out that Mother Nature is just showering me as I ride through these incredible vortexes of prana and trees and coconuts and bananas and the most beautiful plants you've ever seen. And I know that if I don't notice them, are they really even there? Which shows me that they're there just for me. They're in my reality. They're showering me with love in every moment. And the abundance is so much that we have to throw half of it away. There is no lack. And so the point I'm making is when I say, I love you, I love you, I love you, and I'm literally, there's water buffaloes everywhere in every field. I love you guys, I love you. And there's birds sitting on top of the backs of the water buffalo. I still haven't figured that one out yet. But I go around and there's these water buffalo and there's birds. And the water buffalo, they don't mind. I don't know if the birds are like picking little bugs off of them or whatever. But I'm saying I love you. So what am I really doing? They're all mirrors of me. So I'm just saying, I love you, Jeff. I love you, the dream. I love you, Mother Nature. It's all one. It's not separate. So if you find that valuable, it's a really great thing to do. How many things can you be grateful for every single day? And that's why I have everybody go through the process of consciously getting into gratitude and loving on their body first thing every morning as soon as they awaken out of the sleeping dream. Because if you don't, the 50 to 80,000 thoughts are going to start running immediately. I got to get up. I got to put on a pot of coffee. I got to get the kids ready for school. I got to jump in the shower. I've only got 45 minutes before I got to get in the car and go. Whatever it is, you know, it runs. If you do not consciously train it to be in observation mode, in gratitude, being open, it'll run. It's not because it's evil. It's because you are a force of energy. You are the force that creates worlds, the running streams, tornadoes, electricity, the trees, the plants, the fruit that's growing. You're all of it. And that stuff is running non-stop. So you don't want to squash it off. That's how people get disease and stuff. It's always flowing. So our invitation is to become a conduit of clear flow. So that means removing everything that's resistant, because resistance builds up and builds up and builds up. And that's what creates pain and suffering and judgment and reactions and, tumors or whatever, So yeah, this is the most life-changing thing you'll ever do. Conscious awareness is the only game in town. Raising it. It's the only game in town. That and understanding that you are love and that every single thing that you see is you, including the things that you may not like. Man, when they teach this to kids in first grade, and there's kids that are coming in that are already switched on. So, the dark ones are labeling them with ADHD and all this, and they want to jibby jab them. Now they're trying to hit kids 6 months young, and, it's a crime. It's crimes against humanity. But this is what it's taking to wake people up. Because good people would never think of doing that to anybody. That's why they're like, well, if they're telling us we need to do it, then it must be right. No. And it had to get so bad to knock on the door and go, look, this is wrong. Stand up. And that's what we're seeing. And we're going to see a tidal wave of this coming. And the people that have been doing this to people are going to have nowhere to hide. And I just say, may God or the dream or whatever have mercy on your soul, or thank you for playing your role in waking us up finally. We've all probably been murderers, rapists, thieves, bad guys, everything. So instead of judging, have compassion. Compassion is neutral, and it comes from love. Any questions? Okay, we've been going about an hour here. Okay, let me see my notes here. Yeah, I mean, it's really key to understand that the people that are going to move into 5D, and I'm not saying that nobody isn't, because that brings up all this stuff about, well, what about my parents, and, you know, if they're not awake, or my family, and are they going to get left behind? I don't know. I don't think so. I think they're going to get lifted up. But those of us that are paying attention to frequency and vibration and understand how we're creating these new timelines, it's our mission to focus on that. So the key is, again, can you unplug your attention 100% from talking about, thinking about, or speaking about any of the bad that is so being heavily projected on the billboards and the media and all this shit out there? And just navigate through it in your heart and go, I came here for this. Isn't that interesting? Wow, isn't it interesting the levels that they go to? They're brilliant. Oh my God. Their plan is diabolically brilliant and masterful. And they got a lot of people to fall for it. But for some reason, I'm not falling for it this time. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. So this is what I'm passionate about. So, I want to talk about one other thing. Manifestation. Big one. All right. So I had a wonderful conversation with a friend of mine yesterday who mirrored me beautifully. Thank you, Miranda. And we always go deep into wonderful stuff because what else is there to talk about? Uplifting and inspiring each other. And priceless conversations. So we're talking about manifestation, talking about desire, and we're talking about there is no such thing as time. It is an illusion. And I know everybody's heard this, but it's my intention, maybe you'll get this on a little deeper level. And if you don't, because I don't even know if you exist, I'm just really talking to Jeff on every single one of these lives, just so I don't forget. And if it resonates with you, great. And if it doesn't, I'm right here with me right now. And it works for me. So if there is no such thing as time, whether you can figure that out or not, or prove it or whatever, that really doesn't matter. What matters is if you can believe and trust in the fact that if you can have a thought, a desire, or an imagination, something that excites you, it's already here. It already exists because there is no such thing as time. It's already here. So think about it. There may be a million different timelines running through your mind. Good things, not so good things, really great things, magical things. And it's up to what you put your focus, frequency, and attention on and vibrate at that will attract that specific frequency, which we want to go for the big star all the time. The big, beautiful thing that really excites us, the one that moves us. So I invite you to begin to play with, if I can think it and feel it, I already know it's here. I already know it's here. Or at least I'm going to be open to that possibility. I've kind of done this before. I've taken a couple courses on manifestation and EFT tapping, and it didn't really work for me. It didn't work for me either at the time. However, now I've got a different level of awareness and a different level of excitement and a different understanding of playing, keyword playing, with these tools. Not working, not trying, not struggling. No, that's 3D. That's resistance. That's not being in the flow. So when we talk about manifesting our desire, if you're open to the fact or the possibility that by you simply thinking about it, it already exists, then the only logical question would be, okay, then why isn't it here yet? Okay. So there can be a couple different reasons for that, but tuning into that will allow you to dismantle any resistance, any belief that may be keeping your desire from coming in. And when you begin to play in this field and also add in that, well, if it didn't show up, then maybe it wasn't for my highest good, and something better is coming. When you get in that level of trust, you're no longer struggling, trying. You're just like, I put it out there to the universe. I'm excited about it. I love the feeling of it. And I know that's enough. And if it's supposed to show up, it will. And if it's not showing up, there's only two answers. Either it's not for my highest good. I thought it would be, but my soul knew that it would create other problems, so it didn't show up, so thank you. Or I must be holding some type of resistance within, otherwise it would show up. So then we just gently, keyword gently, go, am I really in alignment? Do I really feel it? I'm not just hoping, wishing, trying, giving my subconscious all these spell words that tell it, it's not here yet, Bob. Okay, everybody, it's not here yet. Don't worry about it. It's not here yet. That's how the subconscious works. It's super simple. It's either here now or it's not. And you align the frequency. And I know you may have heard this a million times, but in the way that I'm delivering it, I intend that it sinks in on a little deeper level, because this is the only game in town. This is it. There's nothing else. We're here playing in a field where we're creating it all, but we've all forgotten. And now the frequencies that are coming into the planet, the rays that are coming in from the sun, people are waking up all over. They're popping like popcorn, and that's raising the collective like it's going up every day, every moment. It's the greatest time to be excited in recorded history that I know of, and I know nothing. And that's one of my key statements. It keeps my mind open. I know nothing. Okay, I believe I know that love is the highest frequency, excitement's the highest frequency, and that I'm creating my reality, and love is the answer, love, compassion, forgiveness. I feel that I know that because it resonates. But when I'm talking about knowing, most people go, well, I know that's not true. I know that you're just here repeating some spiritual bullshit from, it's all in the Course in Miracles or whatever that comment was earlier. Whatever. Okay, that was a trigger. It's cool. It's perfect. So, creating your reality. If you can think it, it already exists. So if it's not here, where do you go looking? You don't try harder. You go look within and you go, do I subconsciously want that? Or is there a fear underneath the surface that goes, well, I want that, but if I got that, then I'd really have to show up, and it might create all these other things that I'm not comfortable with, and I don't know how it would be. So my program is locking down and keeping me safe because I haven't just let go and go, I know that I'm safe and I trust. So let's get on the roller coaster ride and hit go. You got to let go. You have to. There's nothing to hold on to. There is no safety or security. It's just an old survival program. Any questions around that? I think we're good. I think I'm going to go soon because that's a lot of energy. And but yeah, does anybody have any questions? So when I used to go sit in the 3-day dreaming weekends with my main mentor, Don Miguel Ruiz. Thank you, Julie, for your contributions and your energy and your interaction, and everybody on this call and everybody that watches this replay. The energy is still alive right now, even if I did this a couple hours ago or yesterday or whatever. It's all happening now. So thank you to all those that comment and, contribute your collective energy and love and questions. It's great. Yeah. So I used to sit in the 3-day dreaming weekends with Miguel, and we'd go in on Friday night about 6 p.m. All excited, because it's once a month and I pay my money and people are flying in from all over the country. And luckily, I manifested that it was held in San Diego, 2 miles from my recording studio. I was the closest one to the Dreaming Center out of everybody that would fly in from around the U.S., and even people flew in from Mexico. So I'd go into the dreaming weekend all excited, or sometimes I had some fear because I'm like, during the month, my stuff was coming up and like, well, I really need to go in and ask this question, but I'm going to be in front of these people. And, people are always, I'll speak for myself. A lot of the times I was worried about being exposed and, showing that I had fear and that I didn't know jack shit and whatever. But the only way to break through that was to ask my question. So sometimes I would sit there and I'm like, oh my God, I really want to ask it, but I got fear. And every single time that I asked my question, I would feel like $1,000,000 5 minutes later. And I would leave the weekend feeling so high just because I had the courage to go, fuck, I don't know anything, but what about this? And they would just bust it so simply and so easily, but I couldn't see it because I had all this energy running around it. And that energy was spinning and it was keeping me from dropping into 0 point and for really calmly receiving the download. Because you can't, let me see, I just caught the word can't. See, when you train yourself to catch these words, you'll begin to catch them real quick. I have people that go through the process with me and I teach them about spell words on the first call. And as soon as they say need or want or whatever, they catch it the very next time. This is amazing. This is people that have been saying unconsciously saying need or want or try or hope or wish for 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 years. I journey with people that are 80 years young. Keyword young. Don't ever use the word OLD again. Why? Because you're trillions of cells that are loving on you and serving you in every moment and have been since you've been in the womb. They're consciously aware and they're listening to every single word and thought and instruction that you give them. So really key to be conscious of the spell words. So I'm in the 3-day weekend with Miguel and I finally asked my question and I got my answer. And it just shifted my whole energetic field. And I got to leave the weekend feeling incredible. So thank you to everybody that asks questions, that shows up, that shares in love and kindness. And again, if you feel that anybody could benefit from these tools, and I don't know who couldn't, but please share these out into your groups because the faster we all raise our vibration, the faster we're going to collectively be in these new earth timelines playing together. And it's beyond anything that you can think of. It is so magnificent. There's not going to be any work to pay to live on a planet that's free. Yeah, we might go hang out in the garden for a couple hours and give some love and some water or whatever to the avocados and the bananas or whatever, but we're not going to be paying to live here. We're actually going to be getting money that was stolen from us when our birth certificate was signed in capital letters and we became slaves. I'm from the US, so I became a slave under the British Royal Crown, which took over the US as a corporation sometime in, I don't know dates, 20s, 30s or whatever. Yeah, we got sold out. So anyway, most of you know this stuff. But the bottom line is we're moving into the greatest time ever. And again, if anybody's interested in going on the 30-day journey, I do 4 spots every month. And it's 30 days of being in contact. It's not like, well, I don't think I can do 30 days because I'm a mom and no. I have moms, people that work jobs go through this every month. We work around your schedule, but I'm checking in with you in Messenger with voice messages, and you're going through the tools in the book and the PowerPoint trainings, and you've got a simple sheet called the daily tracking sheet to fill out every night. It's very simple. How many triggers did you catch? You fill out the number, what came up for you today. It starts to dismantle programs quicker than anything else I've ever found, ever. And I've taken so many courses in 3-day seminars in, Los Angeles, Las Vegas, Sedona, San Diego. And these 3 pieces of this process are the fastest I've ever found. And, I'm sharing all the tools right now in the lives. But when you get mirrored by somebody that can quickly identify your story, help guide you through the wound, and be with you for 30 days, the way you create your reality will be worlds away from where you were. So if you're interested in that, great. Here's a testimonial from somebody that really did a lot of work like I did. And I use the term work, I just caught it there. But when I was doing it, it was work until I figured it out. So this person, Janet, I thought I was awake. Wow. Going through this process changed my life more than anything else I've invested in. I was able to heal deeply hidden wounds from childhood and dismantle so many limiting beliefs and subtle reactionary programs that we're running on automatic. This is what we're running here. I mean, these programs are, unless we can identify them, they're running. So if that interests you, great. Reach out, send me a message in Messenger, or go to the website and just fill out the short little questionnaire. It's very simple. And, you know, come on to these weekly lives. I usually do them on Monday in the US and Thursday. Monday and Thursday, which is my Tuesday and Thursday, because it's 10:25 a.m. here in Thailand when I'm out. It's Sunday. But Monday and Thursdays, 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern. And, you know, come hang out in the frequencies or catch the replays if this stuff is resonating with you. So thank you again. Big, big love from Thailand. And I look forward to connecting with everybody again soon. Stay excited because it's happening right now and we came here for this. Yeah.